Welcome to your most authoritative show on TV. It's The Pulse, and we're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlimle on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Remember, we are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. This afternoon, Ghana sets 2-year target to set up a manufacturing plant for vaccine production, which will require $200 million in the next 10 years to produce domestic vaccine for viral diseases. This afternoon, we have our lenses widely opened on all the details of how government intends to execute this plan within the 10 years period.
We hope that, as we said, within the first 2 years, we'll have one financial partnership in place to support our objectives.
Also this afternoon, over a year into the COVID-19 pandemic, the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research says its equipment are breaking down and needs funds for preventive maintenance as the country's COVID-19 cases surge, with number of deaths also increasing. We are live in that facility for assessment. Plus, as the spill of the Bagre and Kompenga dams begin today, farmers near the Kwalugu Dam say they're ill-equipped to deal with the inevitable destruction. We are also live in the north to monitor the situation and also gauge the mood of farmers who are likely to be affected. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu Affordable Safe Sanitation. Remember, we're also streaming live on YouTube, on our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is @Denana Aisha. Always a pleasure to host you.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Let's start in the north because the National Disaster Management Organization, NATMO, says it has deployed its personnel to farmlands dotted along the border with Burkina Faso to prevent farmers from accessing their farms. It comes as Burkina Bay authorities prepare to spill excess water from the Bagre Dam today. They have indicated that they will open the spillways between today and Sunday. A team from Accra will pitch camp in some areas likely to be affected for at least 4 weeks. And affected by the spillage are some farmers in West Mamprusi and Mamprugu Moduri districts, accused NATMO of not helping them evacuate.
We use canoe to salvage these crops. We are risking our lives because we have to feed our family. We stand in the water at neck level to harvest what we could. We have lost much already. At our neck level, we stand in the reptiles-infested water to pick up the crops. We are doing all this just to get something to eat. We are fighting to get something in our stomach. This is how we risk our lives every year. That is why you always hear people are drowned. Every year, people die in this community as a result of the spillage. For several decades, every year, a combination of bad roads, incessant rain, and flooding along tributaries of the White Volta River completely cut the overseas communities from the rest of the region. About 4 people died in these 2 communities last year due to the twin occurrence of the dam spillage and heavy downpours. The farmers here, while bracing themselves for the looming catastrophe, are criticizing the National Disaster Management Organization for their poor handling of previous flooding situations. The NADMO officials always show up late when the harm has already been caused. Last year, for instance, we had evacuated all by ourselves before they came. We always expect NADMO officials to give us enough information ahead on how to escape the vagaries of the spillage. But they always wait and show up only after we are devastated by the incident. We have lost our crops already. I have 3 acres here and 4 over there. The 4 is already submerged in a flood. And we only see few announcements on TV, but we expect them to be physically present here. Ilyasu Tanko reporting.
Let's get into communities that will be affected by the spill, and our reporters are scattered across these communities to give us updates of the situation there. Isaac Nonya is with the Savannah region. Martina Bagre is in the northern region. Alfred Sori is in the Upper East region. Rafiq Salam will be joining from the Upper West region. Let's get have a conversation. Let's start with Isaac Nonya from the Savannah region. Even before we get an update on the spillage of the Bagre Dam, which is expected to happen later this afternoon, we're learning of the death of one person killed following a heavy downpour in Damango. Isaac Nonya, can you confirm this?
Yes, the middle-aged man was discovered, body was discovered today, somewhere 8 a.m., and the assemblyman was elected. Upon the look of things and per the suspicion of the assemblyman, the elders in the community, the likely bodies of the middle-aged man was carried from somewhere St. Anne towards the volume around the Frafra number 6. So when it was discovered, a bicycle suspected to belong to the disease was equally by him, and it appears the bicycle that choked the bushes. Because the bicycle choked the bushes, the cop also ran into and choked the bicycle close to the volume. So the police then moved to the area to pick the cop. Also got stuck there because the environment was very muddy and the water was too flowing into the volume. The youth were able to rescue the cops from the bush and then the water onto the dry land.
So, Isaac, apart from this, what else can you report of the spillage? Has it started already?
Yeah, for the spillage, as we speak, Monore, we are told commuters have been asked to stop, and really they have done so. They don't want to. They are now going through Larbanga towards Sobola and to able to come back to the community close to Monore. Also at Daboya, the residents who were not ready to move, and then the farmers who were also still harvesting, we are told as of this morning they have stopped going to their farm because the water level has appreciated, and then their crops, they can see that most of their crops are being submerged, so they are moving out. And we are also told that those who stay, not necessarily farm, but who stay close to the riverside, are relocating and are joining the police at the assembly site where they have already been relocated by the assembly.
From the Savannah region, let's move to the northern region. Martina Bagre is there for us. Martina Bagre, what differently can you report from where you are?
Well, in the northern region, community members themselves have begun sensitizing amongst themselves. So you go to mosques and churches, and they are educating them on what to do so that what happened last year in these communities will not happen again. And so when you go to communities, they themselves have taken up the education. We are told yesterday, NADMO was also there to still educate them and encourage those who are reluctant to leave to begin to leave. This yesterday as well, the Ghana Water Company in the area also issued a statement alerting that because of the level at which the water has reached, it's possible they'll be shutting down the treatment plant, the intake plant in Dalong, which means that temporarily we will not be getting the drawing water to treat. And so they are encouraging people in the northern region to begin to store water and conserve water in anticipation of the spillage. If it comes and it takes over the place, they would may need to shut down the intake plant.
Martina Bagre is our correspondent there. Let's move to the Upper West region. Rafiq Salam is there for us. Earlier, before the spillage itself, there's been some communities that have been cut off due to the torrential rains in that area. Rafiq Salam, what's the situation there? Rafiq.
The situation in Upper was about is a double. Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Rafiq.
I'm talking about the Upper West region before the Bagre Dam is scaled into the Upper West region. Already we are having floods of our own. And so last night there were some torrential rains around the and also the Sisala East area. And as I speak to you, when come to the Upper West region or the vice versa. And so there are a lot of passengers who are stranded around the Bruguier and the Banu area in the Sisala East area. And so before Bagre Dam is filled, the people really have a brand of what to expect if actually be spilled into the Upper West region. But we say that more also on their own page are all the people who are living in the low-lying areas, especially those living around the Black Volta. When the Bagre Dam is filled, the communities that are mostly affected are the communities that are closer to the Black Volta. So from Kokoligo up to Awuchau, those communities, and especially those who are having their farmhouses closer to the Black Volta, have been advised to move upstream. And then also another instance in the region has to deal with the issue of this flood that we had. And so the people are yet to come to terms with what is really happening in the region. But for now, when the Bagre Dam is filled, it's not immediate. It will take about 2-3 days before the people realize that they have it has been spilled.
Let's engage Abu Adams, who is Director of Operations with NADMO in the Northern Region. Al-Hassan John Kweku is also Regional Director of NADMO in Northeast. Let's see what the final preparations are as the spillage begins today. We'll start from you. Well, we're just a few hours from the waters reaching the communities. Let's start with the Northern Region. What are the final preparations? Hello, if Abu is there, kindly tell us what the final preparations are for the spillage.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, NADMO here. Our final preparation is we are now monitoring the flood-prone areas to ensure that all those who have been asked to move to the upland have all moved. We are ensuring that this year we do not want to have any loss of life. So NADMO and the traditional authorities along the areas where the flood usually affects are busy monitoring the situation.
All right, in the Northeast, also we have Kweku, John Alasan Kweku, who is Regional Director of the Northeast region. Kweku, what are the final preparations for this?
Well, we've done the education, and then this time around, people have heeded to our call and they have moved to higher grounds. And that more too, we have positioned ourselves strategically at vantage points, monitoring the situation to see what will happen as a result of the spillage. As I speak to you now, we are on the field, our men are on the ground, we are monitoring the situation, we are trying to give up our best. We don't want to lose any life this time around. Besides the Bagre Dam, there are rains. It's raining heavily here. Yesterday, like for instance, we lost some 2 lives in Bumprugu. And then today from the Cherponi district, I am told 3 persons were drowned in a stream. So our men are are on the ground, and everything is being set for us to monitor the situation.
All right. So when is it going to start? When exactly?
Today.
Okay. Do we know what time? Has it started already?
Yes, it's going to be done in Burkina. Burkina and even the national.
All right. So it looks like your line is terrible. If you can address that for me, Mr. Abu Adams. Mr. Adams, if you can address that one for me, if it's been, the spillage has started already. Spillage. Yes, please.
Yeah, according to the report we received from the managers of the Bagre Dam, the spillage will start today. So we are quite convinced that by now they have started with the spillage.
Your personnel to farmlands dotted along the border with Burkina Faso to prevent farmers from accessing their farms. Why?
Hello?
Yes, I'm saying that you've deployed your people across the areas that will be spilled just to prevent farmers from accessing their farms.
Yes. We do not want the farmers to be on their farms around this time. Because when they are found around in their farms around this time, there's a possibility of the flood affecting them and even claiming their life. So usually we advise the farmers to leave their farms and go to the because as for the farms, maybe we cannot control the situation. But if their lives, if they save their lives, maybe in future they can still do the farming. If they don't leave the farms and they are there and something happens, they may not be there again to do the farming. So that is why we have deployed our people to ensure that farmers, fishermen, and all those who do their livelihoods around the flood-prone communities should leave the place immediately.
We understand your personnel will be pitching camp for 6 months in those areas. 6 weeks. Yes, we understand your personnel will be pitching camp in those areas for 6 weeks. It appears you're very prepared for this village.
Yeah, we are prepared. We even expecting our search and rescue team from Accra, the Operation Tendable. They will be in the northern region this evening to support the crisis.
Okay, thankfully, Alassane Kwame has also joined us. Mr. Alassane, you told us that you'll be deploying your people to pitch camp in those areas. Can you assure us that we will finish this and we wouldn't have a lot? Can you lower the volume on your set, please?
The volume, can you hear me now?
Great. We can hear you loud and clear. Yes,
Can you hear me?
Mr. Alassane, go ahead.
You can hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Hello? Yes, we are not expecting to record any bad incident as a result of the flooding. But like we've said, we've educated the people to move to higher grounds just to protect themselves from being affected. Like I said earlier on, already, even besides the Bagre Dam, we are recording some deaths in some of the districts in the northeast region. Bunkuru, for instance, yesterday, because of the heavy downpour, a woman and her grandchild went to the farm, and when they were returning, in their attempt to cross the river, they got drowned. So the woman that area, and today too, the body of the grandchild too has been recovered. This morning, we saw that in the Cherpone district, around Garunkuka area, 3 persons have been drawn in a stream, and then their bodies have been retrieved, and they are preparing them for burial. And also, on the 23rd of this month, around Janga area in the West Mampuse municipality, a man went to farm to harvest granules, and on their return, they got drawn in a river. We understand He is one of the chief's elders. And yesterday, at about 7 p.m. in the night, I received a report from my district director in the West Mamprusi municipality, indicated to us that there was lightning that struck 3 gentlemen, and 2 of them died instantly. The other one, they were rushing him to the hospital, and then on the way, he passed on. This person is about 24 years of age. Abubakar Nasiru, 26 years of age. Idrisu Nuruddin, about 22 years of age. So all of this is as a result of the torrential rains. But for the government strategically to monitor the situation and to give support to residents in case there's any disaster. And the National Operation Team will also be in the region to support us to prevent any casualties that are likely to arise.
So where exactly did we record these deaths?
We recorded 2 deaths yesterday in the Bunkurugu Napandure district. And then we also recorded 3 deaths in the East Mamprusi municipality around Tamboku area. Then this morning we recorded another 3 deaths in the Cheponi districts. Then on the 23rd of this month, we recorded 1 death in the West Mamprusi municipality around Janga area.
So let's talk about relief. How much of relief items do you have in your custody for this exercise?
Oh, like I said, we have enough. NADMO headquarters has given us enough relief items to deal with the situation. But you know, we cannot also anticipate the magnitude of the disaster that is likely to come. And so we are also calling on other NGOs, philanthropic individuals, religious organizations to come to their aid. Just like last year, what happened? NADMO, you know, government has a huge responsibility to deliver. And it's not about Northeast region alone. It is about Northeast region, it is about Upper East region, it is about Upper West region, then it's about Northern region. So we are calling on other, even the media is also helping us in this direction. As for relief items, yes, we have enough, I can assure you, to deal with the situation.
Well, I'm grateful for your time. Alasan John Kweku is Regional Director of NADMO in the Northeast region. And also earlier we spoke with Abu Adams, who is in the Northern region, with some assurances that they're well prepared for the exercise which begins today. Now, families of the late Abdul Nasser Yusuf and Murtala Mohammed want the government to make public the Justice Kumsin Committee inquiry report into the Jura incident. According to them, the content of the report will help them appreciate what transpired during the committee's sitting. The families say they don't want to trust public hearsay. A report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
We only saw and heard here from the media houses that they've come out with the report with some recommendations. One of the recommendations was they should sack out the MCE of Jura Municipal Assembly, and which the MCE has already written a resignation letter that he was no more interested in that position because he wanted peace to reign, which we clap for it.
Abdullah Abubakar is the family head of the late Abdul Nasser Yusuf, one of the 2 shot dead in the Jura incident. He doubts the committee's report would be fair. He has his own expectations on how the matter should have been handled.
I told them that if they wanted justice and fair report from the commission, they should have taken the case to the parliament where everybody is involved. There are oppositions there, the ruling party is there. The opposition party will not agree for the ruling party to cheat them. The ruling party will not agree for the opposition to cheat them. They will do a good investigation and the report will be respected.
Mr. Abubakar wants justice served. Mohammed Awal Misbao in his clutches. About 2 months ago, the 16-year-old was fit and strong. but now he needs support because his right leg was amputated as a result of gunshot injury sustained in the Jura incident. Salamat Muhammad is the mother.
Today, Awal is physically challenged. We have spent over 40,000 cedis paying his medical bills. We also pay 100 cedis every 2 days for his treatment.
At least yo, kafangama ngaka wanke shi 2 days. 1 million haka hospital suke ansa. Gachi da sha.
Salamatu also wants the government to ensure the committee's report is made public.
Bamunji komai kan batun community ba. Gwamnati saboda Allah ka tashi kan wannan magana.
We heard nothing about the committee's report. The president should take a look at that. Awal Bismawu is your grandson, and it was your son, a soldier, who shot at him. Now he's down to one leg. We don't know what the committee did.
Amma yau gashi an bar shi da kafa guda. Kuma tunda muka fita hospital muka zo gida ba wani babban da ya zo nan shede yan jaridan ga da ke kokari suna zuwa nan report da kuma manfani no
Alhaji Omar Al-Hassan is the Dagomba chief of Jura and grandfather of Muntala Mohammed, who was also shot dead during the incident. He recounts what happened when the committee visited him and his advice to help unravel the truth.
It would be unfair if I claimed the report had favored me or otherwise, because the report has already been submitted to the president, but I have not received any feedback and I cannot respond to anything at this moment. It will be difficult for me to react. I ask that the report submitted to the president be publicized for the whole country to know the truth in the report.
The Justice Commission Committee of Inquiry into the Jura incident submitted its report to the Interior Minister weeks ago, but the details of the report and recommendations are yet to be made public. A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
Our polling station executives.
Those are residents at the border town of Aplau in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region protesting what they say is the refusal of government to open land borders for over a year. President Akufo-Addo announced the closure of the country's land and sea borders in March last year in response to the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Many of the protesters, clad in red, held placards which reads, "Open our land borders now. Our husbands are suffering. Open the borders now, and border closure collapsed our business." Volta region correspondent Ivy Setoji joins me on the line with more on what has been happening on the ground. Ivy, so who is leading this protest and who are they channeling their grievances to?
Like Divine Koha, Pogan Kunu, and Ifagomasi, who is the MP, she actually emphasized on the banner. So these are some of the leaders of the demonstration. They are asking government to, as a matter of urgency, open the land borders. They are giving government about 2 weeks to do that. They are saying that over 1 year now, they have been in the house, they are hungry, they can't do anything because most of them rely on the border, doing businesses across the border, that is Togo and Ghana. So they cannot go to Togo and buy goods and come and sell. They cannot do business in Togo because of the closure of the border. And so they are home and their families are hungry. They have nothing to do. So they are asking government to open the land borders because they have opened the air borders as well, according to them. So they want the land borders to be open so that they can go back to their businesses because most of them are not in the formal sector.
Thankfully, Jefa Blangomashi, who is MP for Ketu South, has joined us. I'm grateful for your time, Ms. Gomashi. How bad is the situation for your constituents?
Thank you very much, Aisha. My name is Abla Jifa, not Jifa Abla.
Thanks for the correction.
That's okay. So, I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. Every time I say it's devastating, but indeed, that's what it is. If all you know is the border, and that's where you've grown up, and that's where you found your daily bread for many years, and then for the first time in your life, the border is closed because of COVID, and then it's a year and 5 months now, a year and a half going, and you don't know what to do. There's no alternative. I mean, you can just imagine what that can do to the emotional, mental, and physical well-being of anybody who is caught. But that happens to be the situation of my people right now.
And so we all know why the president closed the borders because of COVID-19. What have you been telling your constituents, and what's the next line of action after this demonstration?
Well, first of all, I've been telling Parliament, as my colleagues with Borders have also done, that it's unfair that we have to deal with this situation of people during this perpetual lockdown as we speak. I've been encouraging them, but I mean, who cares about encouragement when you're hungry, when your businesses are going down? You know, and it's not so much what I tell them, but it's what they tell me. That yes, they voted for me. Yes, I'm Mama Jamado, the first from here. And I know the situation they are in. Speak on our behalf. Who are you talking to? Are they listening to you? We are hungry. Our businesses are collapsed. Our children are hungry. I mean, so it's more what I hear from them and not so much what I am telling them. Aisha, in my shoes, if you were in my shoes, what else can you do but tell your people that it shall be well?
Is this something you intend to bring up when Parliament resumes?
The truth of the matter is that, as the Hansard will reflect, we have, as members of Parliament with Borders in our community, spoken on the floor through a statement, through questions, and so we've done our bit already before Parliament rose. And so if it continues, that's another alternative that we still have to pursue. But this is, for today, what has happened is what the people themselves are planning to do. I just added my voice as a member of Parliament, and I call myself the blessed member of Parliament for Ketu South. That's what I've done to join them today as they take to the streets to press on their issues. But yes, we've already used Parliament. I've said already on one of the platforms that personally I was not impressed and comforted by the response in Parliament, which was that if we want to travel, we could write to the Ministry of the Interior and it would be easy for us to go through it. But it's not about us, the members of Parliament, wanting to travel to Togo. It is about speaking on behalf of our people who may not be able to fly in and out of this country because the the airports are open. But those who want to just go walk to Togo and find something, we are speaking on behalf of those people. But it seems to me that the response we got in Parliament was addressing those who were. That's not the issue.
Jefa Gomashi is the MP for Ketu South. I'm grateful for your time. Ivy Setoji also brought us updates on that demonstration. We'll take a break on the pulse. When we return, Ghana has set a 2-year target to set up a manufacturing plant for vaccine production. We have details shortly after this break.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com, radio.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Welcome back to the Pulse. Now time to check updates on Ghana's situation as far as COVID-19 is concerned. New cases now stand at 496, active cases 6,981, confirmed cases now at 116,441, and recoveries 108,469, deaths now at 991, almost 1,000 deaths. And then also you can see that Greater Accra is still leading the chart, followed by the Ashanti region. Now, Ghana has set a 2-year target to set up a manufacturing plant for vaccine production. The country will require $200 million in the next 10 years to produce domestic vaccine for viral diseases. President Akufo-Addo a few months ago set up the National Vaccine Institute to develop the framework to guide the implementation of that plan. At a meeting to update on progress of work done, chairman of that committee, Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng, says there is support from the private sector for the project.
As we said, within the first 2 years, we'll have one financial partnership in place to support our objectives.
Now, the chairman of the Ghana COVID-19 response team, Dr. Nefia Samuaban, says government is facilitating discussions with manufacturers of some of the COVID-19 vaccines to enable local pharmaceutical companies copy and produce it here under a fill and finish initiative.
We are trying to resolve two problems. One, there are already known vaccines like AstraZeneca, like Pfizer. They are already, the testing has been done, the research has been done, the vaccine is in use. And we want to be able to copy it in Ghana. In order to do that, you need government's intervention to facilitate discussion between the original owners so that the private sector can be allowed to copy. So that is one of the big areas that this institute is going to help. How do we copy vaccines that are already known? Then the second problem we're trying to address is more for the future. How do we develop the capacity to do our own research, discover our own vaccines for future diseases? So those are two different, and that is where the research institutions needs to be supported on a sustained basis for a number of years, so that this time is COVID. 10 years' time is another. By that time, we have people who have been working on different vaccines so that one of them can be used. So I just wanted to clarify there are those two issues. The first is copying something that is already known, Pfizer vaccines or polio vaccines. All this we import. So it's like assembling a car. We're establishing an assembly plant here. We have strong pharmaceutical industries, but they produce medicines, not vaccines. And producing vaccines and medicines are like producing cars and airplanes. They are not the same. All right, so that is the first problem we want to address. The second problem is how do we get to the stage where when we get a new disease, our research institutions are already been working on some type of vaccines that can be tested and used for these purposes. So there are two different processes. And this institute is going to make sure that those things happen. But the institute itself will not produce vaccines.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Health Service will from Tuesday begin administering another set of AstraZeneca vaccines. This follows the successful completion of inoculating Ghanaians with the Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Programs Manager, Expanded Program on Immunization at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Kwame Amponsa-Chiano, has been telling Israel Live more about the vaccine rollout plan on the AM show.
Tuesday, we'll start from Tuesday. We had hoped we were going to start this week, but the preparations were quite enormous. So come Tuesday, we'll start.
All right, so what's the plan?
Okay, so the plan is we are doing what we call equitable distribution. Remember, we have some backlog of Ghanaians who took the first shot and are waiting the second shot. If you will recall, the last time we did a second dose en masse, we started from 1st March, those who had received the vaccine from 1st March to 9th March. I don't know if you remember this.
Yes.
Yes, so in epidemic control, you normally want to protect the most vulnerable. Then, of course, you go to those who are stronger and so on until everybody is covered. And so when we started the rollout, we looked at some population segmentations where we targeted health workers, frontline persons, and security people, people who are above 60 years and older, and then also people with underlying conditions.
All right.
But we have the date, the date of vaccination and all that. That's why when we're doing the second dose, we targeted those who had received from 1st to 9th month. So for this exercise, we're doing some parts of the health workers as well as of the general population, the general vulnerable population.
All right.
So we've done some equitable distribution to health workers across the nation. And then, of course, we'll then also continue with from where we left off, with those who would have received the vaccine, the first dose, from 10th to 29th month.
All right.
And then we still have AstraZeneca in the pipeline. And so by middle of September, we would have covered all the rest of the people. So
Dr. Achiano there, who is head of the vaccination exercise at the Ghana Health Service. Now, over the years into over a year into COVID-19 pandemic, the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research says its equipment are breaking down. They need funds for preventive maintenance and to replace some of the broken down equipment. Noguchi contributes significantly to the country's COVID-19 testing, but is experiencing pressure on their machines. JoyNews' Mapito Sebede caught up with head of the virology at the facility, Dr. John Kofi Odum, who shares the challenges facing the country's biggest test facility.
I am currently here at Noguchi, and I'm going to check out how the testing regime has been, especially since the emergence of the Delta variant. I am going inside to meet the head of the virology department, and he is Dr. Kofi Odum.
Good.
How's everything?
We can't complain. By God's grace, everything is fine.
Everything is fine.
Sure.
All right, I understand that you're going to take us on a tour of what you have here and how everything has been, especially because of the wake of Delta variant.
Sure, we are ready to do that.
Yeah?
Sure.
All right, after you.
Okay. So we are going upstairs.
Okay. So what do we have upstairs?
We have the virology laboratories upstairs.
Okay.
There is also bacteriology labs, but I'll take you to the virology laboratories.
Okay. But since the Delta variant, how has it been?
Well, for the Delta variant, just like any other variant of the COVID-19 virus, we are still working on them, conducting research, as well as diagnosis for the country.
Okay.
Yes.
And then in terms of the pressure and the samples that have been coming in?
In fact, if you compare what we are doing now with last year, the height of the pandemic, this time it's gone down. Even though number of samples will go up, but we can't compare with what we experienced last year.
Yeah.
So it's manageable.
And is there a reason it's like that?
Well.
Or is it because you're better equipped?
That's not the reason. But last year, for instance, the contact tracing, we were collecting more samples. As compared to this time, contact tracing has gone down.
Okay.
Even though we receive contact samples, but it's gone down relative to what we received last year.
Okay.
In terms of equipment, the change is not anything significant.
Yeah.
because the equipment are there.
Yeah.
Even though we added 1 or 2, the change is not significant.
All right. I remember in February, you asked for, or you introduced a new information system, a digital way of, tracing and getting the results. How has that been efficient or effective for you guys?
In fact, that is the database that we are using and the laboratory information system. It is very good, very efficient. In fact, the institute has decided to use that as the database for the institute.
Okay.
We are also thinking Ghana Health Service should also come on board so that when we generate the results, we put it on a platform, and then they can access it. That is the SOMAS that they are using. They can quickly access it into their database, and that will be very easy for all of us.
All right. Okay.
We have 2 cell culture laboratories. Cell culture labs, they are clean laboratories. This is where we grow the cells, and then to use it for virus isolation. So we have 2. This is one of them.
So this is the cell
culture lab. This is a clean room, no virus in this room. We grow the cells, and then we use the cells to isolate viruses. Yes. So we have 2 such labs, this and the other one.
So would I be correct in assuming that if we are trying to get a vaccine, this is the first step?
Exactly. This is where we are going to multiply the cells in order to be able to grow the virus on them. So it's very, very important. If you get it wrong here, all other things will be wrong. You can easily contaminate your cells, and that will be disastrous. By either fungi or bacteria or any other pathogen. And so it's very neat, very clean. You need to maintain it well. And it's the beginning. If you get this one wrong, all other things will be wrong.
All right. So the cell culture is the beginning of Ghana's step to finding a vaccine.
The first step, when we start the vaccine process, this will be very, very relevant. Yes.
All right. So where are you taking us now?
From here, we'll move to the virus isolation lab. So here, for instance, is one of the virus isolation labs. This and then the one opposite. When we receive suspected cases, we want to put them on the cell culture, the cells that we generate from the other room. Put them on it, and that is what will determine whether the virus is present in the sample or not. You know, the viruses you can't see with your naked eye. So it's the substrate that you put on it. If it grows, that will give you a hint that there is something there. If it doesn't grow, you say, you are not dealing with this virus that you're expecting. Because one other thing, the viruses, there are different types of viruses. Coronavirus will grow on a particular cell line. Polio virus will grow on a particular cell line. HIV will grow on another cell line. So if you put HIV virus on polio virus cell line, it will not grow. So I always say that if you put a kenke here, a gun kenke here, and you come the next day and it's not there, and amongst the people around there is a gun, you say that the gun has eaten the gun kenke. Exactly. That is how we are able to isolate the viruses. So we have cell lines, very specific to viruses. That is what we do.
All right. So now let's. I want us to zoom into COVID. So I go to my hospital close to my house. They take my sample, so they have my sample. What happens? What's the journey? How does it come here? I want you to take me through that journey specifically. After I went to the hospital around my house, they took my sample. What's the journey?
Where we started from the down there, your right-hand side, there were some tables there and a desk chair for sample receipt. So samples from the facilities first go there. They will look at the samples. If you say you are bringing 10 samples, they will check and make sure it is 10 samples. They will check the documentation accompanying it. And if it's coming from the facility, one thing that has to be done, the information on the sample should be entered into the database, which is SOMAS, from the facility. So when it gets there and then we receive and we check documentation and number of samples, the next step is to go into the database to check whether the information have been entered into SOMAS.
I see.
So that is also downstairs
okay,
there. Yes.
Okay, that's
once that is complete, now they will bring it here to this laboratory. So now they will bring it here.
Okay.
And so the box here, they will put it here, and then it will be sorted here. Here they are going to assign laboratory ID to it. From here, now they will enter it into our database here. That is where we use the LIS, the Laboratory Information System.
Yeah.
We'll enter all the information on the case-based form there.
Okay.
And then there, we have a barcode system, the small machine sitting by the computer, yes. It will generate a barcode that will stick to the sample, and then it also assigns a session number.
Okay.
So from here is the session number that is going to lead the sample to the PCR. So once that has been done, we have a team here for RNA extraction.
RNA extraction.
So we have the sample. COVID virus is RNA virus. So we are going to extract the RNA.
Okay.
If the virus is there, when we do the extraction, we'll get the RNA.
The RNA.
Once the RNA has been extracted, it means it is now ready to go for PCR.
Okay. All right.
So here in this room, when the samples come from the down there, received here, we assign laboratory IDs, we enter into the database, we get a session number and then the barcodes, and then the sample now move to RNA extraction.
So that gentleman right now is extracting the RNA?
Exactly.
Okay.
That is part of the process
for
RNA extraction. And then the lady sitting behind the safety cabinet is also doing RNA extraction. It goes through different processes before we get the RNA from the sample.
And how long does it take? So he has put in his samples, how long will it take?
From the extraction?
Yes.
It depends on the procedure you are using.
Okay.
We have manual one, we have automated one.
Okay.
Even the automated, they comes in different way.
Yeah.
So depending on the manufacturer's instruction, you follow. Some will take maybe 30 minutes, some to 1 hour. Some may even go beyond, depending on the manufacturer's instruction.
Okay.
So you follow the protocol as is stated in the manual,
all right,
and then you do it.
Now let's talk about the samples that you get on a daily basis. Let's say for this week, how many have you gotten per day?
Sometimes per day, we do get about 400.
400.
500 from the facility.
Okay.
We also have people walking in to do the test for travel purposes. That one we may get about 100 or 150.
Okay.
But the facility samples, it varies. You can get about 1,000 a day, you can get about 500 a day. Sometimes you don't know what informs that.
Okay.
But you realize that for you to get about 900 or 800 a day, it means that facility have gotten a case and now doing contact tracing.
I see.
And so they bring more contact cases, and that will raise the number of samples that you receive in a day.
Okay. But recently, if you could estimate your numbers, where are we sitting at?
If we estimate our numbers, averagely we can say we receive about 500-600 a day from facility, and then about 100 from the walking, those traveling.
All right. Okay. So after this, where does my sample go?
From here, we'll go to the PCR laboratory now.
Okay.
So now let's go to the PCR.
Okay.
For laboratories that do molecular tests, the PCR, for instance, you need 3 separate rooms for PCR.
I see.
Because of contamination.
Okay.
You need a clean room where you don't take the sample there. You only prepare your reagents there. Reagents that you need for the PCR, you prepare it there. So there, no sample, no virus.
Okay.
So it's a clean room. Okay. So when you come here, this is our clean room.
And this is the beginning of the...
This is the beginning of the PCR process.
Okay.
So this is our clean room. Here, we prepare our reagents for PCR here. You don't bring the sample here.
You don't bring the sample here?
Just the reagents that we are going to use. So you look at the number of samples you have received.
Okay.
If you are prepared, you have received 100 samples.
Yeah.
Then you are prepared reagents that will be enough to process that 100 samples.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, so the regions, if you put it in layman terms so that we can all understand, the regions are to test for the actual virus.
To test for the presence of the virus.
For
because the sample that you received,
Uh-huh.
you have attempted to extract RNA.
Okay.
Until that point, you do not know whether or not
the virus
is there.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have gone through procedures that will allow you to get the virus out of the sample.
Mm-hmm.
And that virus, you are taking some component, which is the RNA,
okay,
the genetic material from
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so that is what you take. And when you take that one, you don't bring it here,
Mm-hmm.
but you only bring other reagents that will support
Okay.
the PCR work. So that reagents, we put those reagents together here in this room, and then take enough quantity that will allow you to process the number of samples that you have received.
That's it. Okay, so first step, well, the other step now is from clean room, where do we go?
We go to where you now add your RNA
Okay.
that you extracted from the other room. So this is one room, and then this will be the second room.
And you said we have 3 rooms, right?
We have 2 rooms.
Okay.
So when you get here,
Yeah.
because for genetic material, you have RNA and then you have DNA.
Okay.
So this, if you are dealing with RNA, this is the second room.
Okay.
If you are dealing with DNA, this is the second room. So for COVID, it is RNA. So here, we come here. By the time the reagents get here, the person might have put the sample here.
Yeah, I see.
So you have your reagent and now your sample. That sample is not the raw sample from the food,
I see.
but the RNA that has been extracted. So now is the RNA and then your reagent.
Yeah.
And then you are now going to add.
Okay.
Yes.
So that we can check for the presence.
Yes, or absence of the virus.
Or the absence
Yes.
of the virus.
Yes.
Okay.
So you do all the preparations here now. Your reagents, your RNA, you put them together here. From here, now you move to the third room.
The third room.
So this is the third room where we do the proper PCR. These are the PCR machines.
Okay.
They are real-time PCR machines. Real-time in the sense that as you put in your samples to process, you see the results real-time. It will be plotting, and then you see.
I see.
And if it's positive, you always look for a sigmoid curve like S.
Okay.
Yes. So once you see that S, it means there is virus in that sample.
All right.
If there is no virus, the curve is just flat at the bottom.
Okay. So one sample, plus minus, how long does it take? So like the process, how long is it take?
Probably about 2 hours.
Probably about 2 hours for one sample.
Yes.
Okay. I also see polio and flu there. It consists of the same.
Yes, it's
RNA.
also an RNA virus.
It's RNA
yes.
virus. Okay.
So it goes through the extraction, the same procedure, and it's done here. Not just polio, we also do influenza, HIV, viral hemorrhagic fevers, whether it's chikungunya, dengue, Ebola, Marburg, all of them.
Okay. All right, so this is the PCR room, right?
Yes.
Obviously, at the airports, when you go test, they say you're doing a PCR test. Is this the same process that they're going to go through, or?
If you are leaving the country, it is PCR test.
Okay.
There are some laboratories at the airport that also do PCR test.
Okay.
But if you are coming in, we are doing antigen testing.
Okay.
And the process is not the same.
Okay.
That one, it doesn't go through
The vigorous.
the extraction and all those things.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. So my sample is done. It's here. You have seen if it has COVID, if I have COVID or not. What next after this?
Once PCR results is ready, because the samples we receive from the facilities are Ghana Air Service samples that we are processing for, now we need to report.
Okay.
But before we report, the samples are ready. They will now link the results to the LIS.
I see.
LIS, that database,
Yes.
it will be linked here. Once it's linked here, it will be exported. We have a data room downstairs to them.
Yeah.
They are now going to look at it, and then we are using 2 systems. reporting to the facilities through Ghana Service. And then we're also generating reports for the travelers. For the travelers, we generate the report in such a way that once the report is ready and is uploaded, the reporter, the client received a text message as well as an email message. So we use the information in the text message to download the report and then can now send the report to the airport. And the system is also said that the airlines can also have access to the report. So what you take there, they already have it and then they can see.
So that they can know that if it's fake or not.
Exactly. But for the Ghana Service, the system that they also use, the database is called SOMAS. When we finish and export it down there, they also export it to the SOMAS, and it goes to Ghana Service straight, as well as the facility that sent the samples. So they should be able to access the information there and then. Sometimes they'll bring the samples and you say that, I brought samples about 2 weeks ago, I've not received, or 2 days ago, I've not received. It's not because we have not processed them, but because maybe there's issue with the SOMAS. We will deposit it there, but for them to access, it becomes difficult. And so until they tell us, sometimes we may not know. But when they call, so we brought samples 2 days ago, what is happening? We go into our system, now generate their reports for them and send it to them using Excel. Send it to them. But the normal system is send it to SOMAS. We export to SOMAS and then they have to access it from there. So once that is done, it means the sample has been received, it has been processed, now reported to Ghana Service and the client, and the work is done.
And the work is done. All right. So how many cases so far have we been seeing? How many cases have we been seeing?
From the beginning of the year.
Since we confirmed that the Delta
variant,
since we
confirmed, Noguchi, we have processed close to 500,000. 500,000. If you look at the national database, the number of samples that have been processed so far, slightly above 1 million. Meaning that Noguchi is contributing over 40% to all the data. We have about 40 laboratories testing for COVID. Noguchi alone is contributing about 40%. It used to be about 55%, where with the increased number of laboratories testing, now it has come down to about 40%. So you can imagine the work that we are doing here.
Talking about the work that you're doing here, how has it been? What are some of your challenges that you're facing?
In fact, when we started last year, for instance, we were having issues with reagents and supplies. Well, 2 months before the end of last year, up to now, we've not run out of reagents. We've been having constant supply of reagents. And so, in terms of reagents, that is fine. In terms of manpower, we also have enough personnel to process the sample. If we could process about 5,000 a day last year during the height of the pandemic, you can imagine now if you are doing less than 1,000.
All right.
But most of the staff we have here do not only do COVID work. We have other projects and things that we do. So it's all well and good. It's fine.
All right. So this is the RNA room.
This is the PCR room. Yes.
Okay. But then you said there's also the DNA. The DNA, what kind of viruses or?
If you are dealing with HIV viruses and other viruses that have the DNA as genetic materials, then you do it there before you come here. But this place is also not the end. This is the real time. If you are doing real time, but sometimes some of the PCR that you do, like conventional PCR, you don't see the results real time like you see on the screen. So that one, we use this equipment here. This one, for instance, to do the PCR. So for you to know whether your sample has the virus or not, you need to do what we call gel electrophoresis before you can see your results. So that one to the which is taking the sample that you have processed to now view using another process. Because here you cannot view. It will manipulate the sample and then it is done. Once it is done, you still have liquid in a tube. So you can't say whether it's positive or negative. So we do what we call gel electrophoresis. That will allow whatever is there to come out for you to see. So we can move on to that room too. So normally we call post-PCR room.
Post-PCR room.
Yeah, so that is the place. So we have these cassettes.
Okay.
That is, you run the samples through. You also use, some of them use what do you call iodine bromide. And so because it has a pinkish color, as you run your gel, see the thing will be flowing, and so you see the color. But even that one, you cannot conclude. So you put it here in the UV, which will now, the UV will be radiated on it, and then you see it from the screen. And so they come as bands. So if the sample is positive, there will be a band there clearly for you to see. If it is negative, there wouldn't be any band. So if you run your samples and there are no bands, it means they are all negative. But of course, your controls will be there to guide you. And your positive control should always show the band, and the negative control will not have a band. So this is the post-PCR room. If you are not doing real-time PCR, that will see the results real-time. But conventional, then you need to come and do this process before, especially if you are going to do sequencing, genomic sequencing. Then you don't do real-time. After that amplification over there, you come and determine whether the virus is there or not. If it is there, then you can proceed to go and sequence. But if it's not there, the virus is not there, so what are you going to sequence?
All right, so take our viewers back to biology class. When you say sequencing, you mean?
Sequencing, you see, the virus, as we understand, we are all made up of genetic material. And for the viruses, depending on the type of viruses, determines how big the genome is. And if I say big, it's not in terms of like you see it big like this, but in that terms, still talking about size, you are talking about the number of nucleotides in that genome. If you take poliovirus, for instance, it has about 7,500 nucleotides. If you take the whole, so sometimes you only sequence some portion because the genome is divided. So you sequence some portion. When you take COVID, for instance, we normally sequence the N gene or the S gene. So that is the area of sequence. We also sequence the whole genome, of course, to look at the whole thing, how the whole, So the sequencing will now reveal the different nucleotides, and these nucleotides come together to form amino acids.
Hey, Doc, you're taking me back to school.
That is what you asked for.
No problem.
So you have about 3 nucleotides coming together to form amino acid. And so normally when you sequence different viruses, you look for the nucleotides. Are they the same? If they are not the same, where the changes are occurring, are the changes translating to amino acids? Because you have 3 nucleotides forming amino acids. Most of the amino acids, if the first nucleotide changes, sometimes nothing happens. This has changed, but the amino acid is the same as the one that has not changed. But most of the time, when the second or third change, then the amino acid changes. And sometimes when it changes, it also has implications. Sometimes it changes and becomes more virulent. It changes and it means it can spread faster. It changes and it becomes this. So all the variants that we are seeing, it's because of the changes of amino acids in the genome of the virus. Yes.
Okay. So what causes this? So we had like the Delta variants now. What caused the changes?
You see, if you are talking about RNA viruses, it is not that stable. During replication, like just as human beings give birth, when viruses also, we say they are replicating. During replication, there are a lot of mistakes happen. So instead of this nucleotide binding with this nucleotide, and this rather will go and bind, and then ends up becoming another thing altogether. So if you have like one virus, before you get to the next progeny, you expect the same thing, like you give birth to your type. But this one, you give birth to a different type. a lot of changes. And that one will also give birth to, and there are a lot of changes coming. So as you move on,
then
different changes will now accumulate and becomes another thing altogether.
Okay, so then it gives you the different types of variants.
Yes.
Okay.
So the changes will also determine how wild that variant will become.
Okay.
Sometimes changes will occur, but it will make the virus not to be harmful anymore.
So how are humans involved, or let me say involved in the changes? Like what kind of contributions do humans give to these changes? Like, what is it? Because I'm not wearing my mask and I went to go drink, or is it because I touched someone, or like how is it my fault, for lack of better words, that there's a Delta variant? Because a lot of people are saying that the reason why there's now a new variant is because you weren't wearing masks and the virus has evolved.
If you are not wearing masks, the virus will not evolve. But apart from the errors that occur during the replication by itself, you also agree with me that when two people come together, there is something, there will be mixture somehow.
Of course.
What you bring and what I bring will just cause another. So if I'm here and then I move from here to maybe another area or another country.
Okay.
Supposing I'm carrying one particular virus, the person there is also carrying another.
Okay.
When we share, or I guess from you, mutations and things can happen because you have two coming together. Sometimes we have what we call recombination. Recombinant. So you get recombinant out of the two coming together.
Okay.
So that is how we also contribute to this, apart from the viruses themselves, the errors that they encounter during replication.
Okay, so with this process, because this looks like a longer process,
yes,
you don't do it for like COVID, as in like I need my results in
COVID. If you want to sequence, that is what we do.
Okay.
But for diagnosis,
no,
we will not do this because the real time gives faster results.
Okay.
Yes.
So for diagnosis, we do the post.
For diagnosis, we do the real-time PCR.
No, for diagnosis, I beg your pardon, we do real-time
PCR.
And
but for sequencing,
we do
the gel electrophoresis, and then we continue to do sequencing.
I see. Okay. All right. So after this, where do we go? Oh, we are done.
From here, we are done. Okay. Let's look at for sequencing. We have two different machines. This one we call the Sanger machine.
Okay.
This, for instance.
Okay.
And normally we use it to sequence shorter regions of the genome.
Okay.
Yes. We can also use it to sequence the whole genome, but you are going to do it in pieces. When we finish, you join it together. Yes. So for most viruses that we don't need the whole genome, we only want to target one particular area of the genome. We use this one to do it. But if you want to sequence the whole genome, if you are going to use this, it will take you days and weeks because you are going to do it piece and pieces and join. So we use what we call the next generation sequence. That is down there in immunology laboratory.
So that was Mapito Sibede, who caught up with head of virology at the facility, Noguchi Memorial Institute, Dr. Kofi Odum, who has been sharing the challenges and also taking us round to what they do at that facility. But government, as part of measures to put in place to curb the high rate of importation of new COVID-19 Delta variant at our various airports, has embarked on massive disinfection exercise at our various airports in the country. The government, in collaboration with Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, has been undertaking the monthly disinfection exercise at the various airports in the country to rid of at least surface of the airports, such as the arrival area, departure yard, the terminals, and surfaces where people usually touch. Speaking to the media during the disinfection exercise, the business development manager for Vector Control Service at Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, Akosia Kunedo Yaboa, noted the monthly disinfection exercise has been of great importance to the country, as she says it has helped reduce the risk of the virus importation into the country.
We are here this evening to disinfect the Tamale airports. We have done this from last week, Sunday till now in all other airports of the country. And it is the turn of Tamale, and so we are here. Today we are doing 6 areas of the airport. That is the terminals and its environs, the generator house and its environs. They call a place the AGLs, which is the aeronautical lighting, ground lighting areas. They have 3 areas of that. We are doing that one. We are doing the fire station, the security booths. It is touching every corner of the Tamale Airport. In fact, this is because we are getting into the festive mood and there will be influx of travelers all over the terminals. So with the COVID still lurking around, if we do this disinfection, we are sure that we have targeted the viruses and probably bacteria and any such vector around, so that we reassure our customers that will be passing through the airport and every Ghanaian that the airport is a safe place to go through, provided you have your nose masks and you are keeping up with the hand washing and the use of sanitizers. This evening we are here with about 20 workers, sprayers, to use the various machines that we have to do this.
We are here this evening to embark on the 3rd phase of disinfection of the airports across the country. Today is the turn for Tamale Airport. The essence of this exercise is for us to continue.
Her life used to be a solitary one due to a medical condition she developed during childbirth. This condition, obstetric fistula, which made her leak urine and feces, did not only strip her of her dignity as a woman, but also robbed her of the joy of being a mother. However, today, hope of living a fulfilling life has been restored for 47-year-old Rebecca. Rebecca was among the 10 women who underwent free medical treatment and fistula surgeries at the Mercy Women's Catholic Hospital in Mankasim. There's more in the following report filed by Beryl and Estina Resta.
A life of misery, pain, rejection, and hopelessness. That was Rebecca Quayson's story with obstetric fistula.
Because of the condition, they feel they are worthless.
But her woes are over now. This life-changing experience is as a result of a 40,000 Ghana cedis donation from a JoyNews viewer to support free medical treatment and surgeries for Rebecca and 9 other women.
This is positive in the sense that these women have been given a second chance to live dignified and fulfilling lives.
We
say we are very grateful to JoyNews and the viewer who saw our plight and came to our need to help us with these items.
My parents thought it was a curse, so I was left to my fate. The man who got me pregnant also abandoned me. I have never set eyes on him again.
A life of misery, pain, rejection, and hopelessness. That was Rebecca Quayson's story with obstetric fistula. Obstetric fistula is a medical condition that involves an abnormal opening between the bladder and the vagina, or between the rectum and vagina, or both, leading to an uncontrolled leakage of urine or feces caused by prolonged obstructed labor without access to timely and quality medical treatment. For more than 25 years, Rebecca lived with this devastating medical condition. But her woes are over now. This life-changing experience is as a result of a 40,000 Ghana cedis donation from a JoyNews viewer to support free medical treatment and surgeries for Rebecca and 9 other women at the Mercy Women's Catholic Hospital in Mankesim.
By God's grace, everything is fine now. I no longer leak feces.
Dr. Felix Bowo is an obstetrician gynecologist and a fistula surgeon at the Mercy Women's Catholic Hospital. According to Dr. Bowo, it was quite a successful procedure.
At this center, we take care of obstetric fistula patients. And then one of the challenges that we have in taking care of them is raising funds for their operation, which includes pre-op operation, pre-op operation, the operation itself, and then the post-op care. So we got a philanthropist who, after she had listened to the story of these women, volunteered or decided to support the care or the surgery for 10 patients or 10 women who had these conditions. So this is how we got the support to have this session done. In fact, we were happy when we got the support. And then there were 10 in all, so they were all done on the same day. And I must say that it was quite successful, though we had some few ones that theirs were more complicated. So I had to spend about 5 hours in repairing one of them. But otherwise, most of them, it went well. One also had a combination of leaking urine and then feces. So we had to have 2 surgeries at the same time, which also took some time. Otherwise, generally, it was quite successful. That's on the day of the surgery. Then the post-op care, post-operative care, so I must say, has been very good. They've all been doing well.
A full report airs this Saturday at 2 p.m. on the JoyNews channel. Do make a date. We'll take a break for sports. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Time now for sports. Ghana's para-powerlifter Emmanuel Nitete Oku begins his journey in the Paralympic Games on Saturday, August 29. But his journey to Tokyo was not a rosy one. From an accidental gunshot wound resulting in a leg amputation to leading team Ghana's parade at the Games, Joy Sports' Nana Saribediakun was at his Anya residence shortly before he left Ghana for Japan. Here are excerpts.
When Emmanuel Nitete Oku looked for light, darkness came. The 30-year-old had dreams of becoming one of the best electrical engineers in the world, but that dream was dealt a hefty blow in 2013.
It happened at the palace. I was mistakenly shot, not conflict or fight or something. It was a friend who was actually, I don't know what he was doing, but I was just sitting close to him, and all I heard was the gun just went off, and it went straight into my thighs. I was taken to the hospital, and then this. I felt bad at the beginning, but I realized it was the only option they had because it was already rotten as the incident happened. So they told me they couldn't do anything about it. They have to amputate it. So they spoke to me. I spoke with my family. And then I was like, that's the only option I have, and I should let them do it. When it happened at 2013, I think that few 2 years, 14, 15 was when I was like, wow, Charlie, right now I can't do things that I used to do. I used to love riding motorbike, and that is one thing that I can't do now, and when I remember, it really hurts me a lot.
Head of the Tokyo Paralympic Games, the Brother Tassitius Prosthetics and Orthotics Training College in Nsawam designed an above-knee prosthesis. Nana AJ led a team of students to design the prosthesis.
This is a prosthesis, something similar that we made for Emmanuel. So you have the socket, you have a knee joint, and then you have a prosthetic foot. Yes. Now the socket is what accommodates the residual limb, or the part that is left after amputation. And then because his amputation was an above knee amputation, that means the knee joint is not there. So we provide a mechanical knee joint and then a prosthetic foot for him. Usually amputees, it is our vision that we get them back to their feet and then to be able to walk again. Now, using the crutches or the elbow crutches isn't appropriate. So a prosthesis is provided for such a person to be able to walk independently. Now, getting him a prosthesis will go a long way to help him to walk faster than the crutches, and then to do other daily activities faster. Using the crutches demand a lot of energy expenditure, and then using the prosthesis reduces it. So I think that is going to save him a lot of strength for exercising and then other projects that is going to embark on.
Emmanuel got into powerlifting in 2018 and has performed wonders since. He's won 2 international bronze medals so far, in 2019 in Abuja, Nigeria, and 2020 in Manchester, United Kingdom. Samson Dean, president of the Ghana Paralympic Committee, expects their Accra-born powerlifter to go places.
We call him the Beast. He's a kind man, a very gentle and ready to learn athlete. His years in the sports will span from about 4 years since I became the president of the powerlifting. We picked him from nowhere, just nothing, and we did a space of 4 years. Ima is at Tokyo Games. We are using him as an example to prove to everyone that you can do it. The Beast, as he is called, is exactly as he is. A very serious, determined gentleman.
Emmanuel Tete Oku, who will be competing in the men's 72 kg category, is raring to go. He says he has what it takes to win a medal in Japan.
I know by God's strength, I'll be able to achieve it. Because as we came, looking at my training, although due to COVID, we were being quarantined for 7 days. We just started training this week. It has still not bring my spirit down. I'm still keeping the fire burning. And I know I can still make my target. Looking at my training and the weight I'm making now, I know I can still make my target. So I'm asking Ghanaians to support me with their moral support and their prayers. And I'm never going to let Team Ghana down. I'm going to make Team Ghana proud.
Emmanuel's trainer, Prince Nyakon, is also optimistic.
We expect the best from Ima. He's somebody who understands the game. And when you understand whatever you are doing, you don't wait for instructions. He understands what he's doing. He knows where he's going. I mean, a whole lot. So training with him motivates I myself. So I learn a lot from him as well. We are hoping for medal in Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games as well. So Ghana should watch out for Emmanuel Tete Oku, the rising star, the survivor.
Emmanuel is leaving no stone unturned in his quest to changing perceptions about persons with disability.
I don't see myself to be a disabled. I see myself to be an differently able person, but not disabled. Okay, so I just want to tell them they should go out there. There are a lot of things you can do. Begging on the street is not the only option. Okay, so they should try and then do something great for themselves. It will come with sacrifice, a lot of sacrifices, but at the end of the day, you make it in life. So they should try and then see life, not to limit themselves to begging on the streets only, but they should try it and explore. There are a lot of things they can do.
That was your sports for you, but that's how we draw the curtains on the polls this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. You have updates of all the developing stories. Up next, it's Let's Talk Showbiz. I know it's a Friday. Do chill, but don't freeze.
Ojimeni metri fama manashime, fama manashime, oh yeah. Akosi edimapura, odimakumetri fama mamoje to me, pimpina nane, ebe kumboy, so be do wa don't be, yeah, be do bape wo. Feina when you was a woman, as a water, and tea 7 pemia, 7 pemia, Obi Baba Fe 7 pemia, 7 pemia, Obi Baba Fe.
And it is very true. Well, you're welcome to Let's Talk Showbiz, and I know that you're expecting to see your normal hostess, that is Doreen Avio, but she is not available. The name is Ibrahim Ben Bako, IB Ben Bako on social media, and today, my element of surprise, you just saw him, Kwame Nkrumah. Yeah, when I heard the name Kwame Nkrumah, I was expecting someone like me, someone bald, but he's not bald, he has all the hair. Yo, bro, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Okay, I'm great. That was nice.
Thank you.
Well, folks, I've just had the privilege of listening to the whole EP, Dreams and Heartbreaks. Is this part of the EP?
Yes, this is the second song on the EP.
And you call it?
One Pemia.
Okay, so before we start the interview, this is how the show is going to unravel, like, together with the stories I'll be giving you. I have something from Fuso DG. Jeshon Ochi has also been talking. Well, Fuso is talking about the Grammy Awards and awards here in Ghana. Jeshon is also, he also has a message for our leaders. But before we even get there, let's get very up close personal with Kwame Nkrumah, who also has a show coming up next week Saturday. Well, only 1 year professionally doing music, and he has an EP, and he already has a show coming up. That is very, very, I mean, that's something good, right? Some good news over there. So, you've been playing the guitar for 9 years.
Yeah.
Why did it take you so long to start singing?
Well, actually, no, I forgot one thing. I actually started singing with the guitar because I fell in love with a girl and I wanted to impress her. So that's what made me learn the guitar, actually.
You're joking?
Yeah, I'm for real.
So 9 years ago, you fell in love with some girl?
Yeah.
Do you still keep, are you still in contact with her?
No.
Did she ever get to know that you were in love with her?
Yeah, she did.
So it means you had the opportunity to play the guitar to her, for her?
I played the guitar to her a lot of times. Yeah.
What love can do. So you have become a musician because of what love has done to you.
I'd say that, yeah.
Then I can boldly say you do a lot of love songs.
Yeah, for now, I'm known for making love songs.
How many do you have on the EP?
The love songs is it's 3.
3 love songs on the EP. Okay, wow.
One Pemia, Wara, and Deja Vu, but that one is explicit.
Okay. Well, I first off, I like the name. It's very indigenous. It always makes people get to know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Was that the idea for choosing the name?
No, that's my real name, Kwame Nkrumah Jr.
Kwame Nkrumah Jr.
Yeah.
Your father is Kwame Nkrumah.
Yeah, my father is Kwame Nkrumah.
Not the
old person.
Do you have any relations to him?
No, but I know some of the family members.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of my name.
Had it not been music, what would you have been doing?
A race car driver in Germany and a lawyer.
That was your first love, car?
Yeah. I mean, it's still my first love. This is just.
That's just what love did.
Yeah, this is just what love did, and now I want to take it seriously. But my actual career was supposed to be race car or being a lawyer. I wanted to blend both before music.
But it looks like music has taken over now.
Music has taken over now.
Are you disappointed you couldn't be a lawyer?
No.
Are you
I'm
disappointed you didn't turn out to be a car racer?
I think there's still time.
There's still time?
Yeah.
For you to do both?
No, for me to focus on racing and music.
Oh, okay. So law is totally out of the way.
Yes, it's out.
Is your mom happy with that?
Initially, she wasn't happy, but now I'm making progress with the music, so I think she's calm.
She's calm?
Yeah, she's calm.
Okay, she has not gotten to the part where she becomes very excited.
I mean, currently, I think so far my improvement makes her feel proud. So I'm just hoping the concert will make her cry, because that's what I want to see.
Yes, you have an upcoming concert.
Yeah, I have an upcoming concert.
Okay, so you have an EP out and you're having a concert for the EP.
For the EP, yes.
Okay.
As a way of promoting the songs on it.
Songs on the EP.
But this time around, I want people who heard the one premiere first to have a feel of me performing live to them. So just me and my audience.
Okay. Okay, so let's go into our stories. We'll come back and Kwame Nkrumah here is going to tell me why Dreams and Hustle. So Fuso DJ was in the studios of Hit 103.9 with Andy Dusty on Daybreak Hit. And he's been talking about the Grammy Awards. So he's saying that Ghanaians have too much talent for us to waste time thinking of how to get onto Grammy Awards. He believes that we should hold and rather propagate and promote what we have here for people to rather come onto our platforms. I'm talking about the award platforms, and also the talent we have here is enormous. Well, this is Fuse ODJ in the convo with Andy Dusty.
Why are we so fixated on the wrong things? So again, we need to just learn to celebrate Ghana talent, learn to build our own, and focus on building our own platforms so we can actually say no to other people, because all these award shows that they're doing over there are not real. It's all relationships, and it's all, there's so many artists that deserve it that don't even get it.
If you're talking about depending on relationships, then it means you had a certain relationship to win your Grammy with Ed Sheeran. Is that what you're saying?
Listen, I didn't come screaming to everyone that, I got a Grammy. I gave it just as much love as I gave my Ghana Music Award. Do you understand? Because you have to, whenever somebody praises you, you have to not get so fixated on it. You can celebrate, but you move on and you can continue to build, because it's the same person that will also devalue you. So we have to be very careful that if it's a win, we celebrate. If it's a loss, take it, you move on. But you don't kind of raise it so high that when you don't get it, it kind of messes up your whole journey or where you're supposed to be. So we have to be very careful that we focus on celebrating our Ghana talent, focus on building our own platforms, and we don't fixate on the wrong things whenever we don't get things from the other side. Because why is it that we raise it so high that we start to even make our artists feel demotivated? It doesn't make any sense. It's man-made. I feel like we need to be careful that we don't equate the Grammy to talent. Ghana has some of the best talent that the world has ever seen. And for the Afrobeat scene, Ghana has contributed next to Nigeria more than any other country in the world. We have broken records that nobody has ever broken before, right? So Ghana, to me, is way above the Grammys, because the Grammy doesn't equal the talent of the artist. Bob Marley has never won a Grammy before in his life. But to me, and to everyone as well, he's one of the best musicians in the world. So we need to be very careful, because it's very demotivating, because the artists are working very hard. And to me, we should not, raise this Grammy thing to a level where it's like we're equating it to the talent and the hard work of Ghanaian musicians, because we work so hard. And we've done so much that we can celebrate. We always focus on the wrong things. Eventually, when it happens, again, we should celebrate it, but we should not hold on to it, because it's man-made. Do you understand? And at the end of the day, all these artists are making great music, and they're pushing Afrobeats to the world. They're pushing Ghana to the world. So we should not fixate on this man-made object that Kanye, who was it that was even like urinating in the
That's
Grammy?
Kanye.
That Kanye was urinating inside of. Why are we fighting for such an object?
And that was Fuse with Andy Dusty in the studios of Hits 103.9. But I'm still here with Kwame Nkrumah and it's Dreams and Heartbreaks. So why that title?
So Dreams and Heartbreaks is just a story about a young black boy that has the dream to be one of the finest artists from Ghana and the heartbreaks that came with it. So basically that's just the
Heartbreaks that you remember only one.
I mean, well, I think there are a lot of heartbreaks, but I think I'll just focus on this particular
on that particular one.
Yeah.
The one that inspired you to really write on Pemia. Have you succeeded in love?
No, right now I'm just focusing on my music. But the ladies are coming though.
The ladies are coming. See,
coming.
It's very ironic that someone who love takes you into music, you're still not successful with love. Isn't it very ironic?
I mean, well, I think I'll get there.
How many tracks do you have on Dreams and Heartbreaks?
It's 5 songs.
5 songs.
Yeah.
Did you feature anyone?
No, it's all me.
All you?
Yeah.
But come Saturday on the 4th of September, you have other...
Yes, I have acts coming to support me at the concert.
Okay. So what goes into you looking at which act to be on the concert?
Well, I think for now, I'm trying to deal with my colleagues, like the ones who just popped out in the industry and they're doing great. But also, I think I got KK Fosu to come because he's a high life legend I look up to. And yes, I'm just glad he's coming. But for now, I think I just keep the lineup secret for now. So you just need to come to the concert to witness.
You're tight-lipping the...
yeah, you need to be there to see. Let's say for the Dreams and Heartbreaks EP, it was just me resonating back into time, thinking about the things I wanted to do in life and my heartbreak. So, like, music is always my thing. So yeah, that's just what really motivates me.
That's really
music.
So, are you glad all those things happened for you to be able to focus on music?
I think everything happens for a reason, so I'm grateful that had to happen for me to be the man that I am today.
Okay. On that note, let's hold up and take a listen to what Jeshurun said when he was on Showbiz Now with KMJ. Well, he has a message for the leaders. He says, don't let me even say it. Let's take a listen to what Jeshurun said.
You know, have you realized that ritual killings have increased in Ghana? Absolutely. In the past few months, reports of ritual killings. When you get to that state, you should understand, and the leaders of this nation should understand that we are in desperate times. The moment you know, people will do anything and just to succeed or to be comfortable. It also means that people are losing their conscience. That's a sign of desperation and a sign of hopelessness.